Hello, thank you. So back in 2012, I met a programmer called Linda Sandvik at a web conference not dissimilar to this, and we carried on meeting each other just as friends. I'm a user experience designer by trade, and as I say, she's a programmer. And we realized that children, especially in the UK, aren't being taught to code. So what we thought was, well, we know loads of programmers, so maybe we can do something about this. Here we are in the pub, having lots of ideas. So our idea is Code Club. Code Club is a nationwide network of volunteer-led after-school coding clubs for children aged 9 to 11. It's our goal to give every child in the UK the chance to learn to code, to inspire children to try digital making, even just for the first time, and to have a club in 25% of UK primary schools by the end of 2015. And to put that into perspective, there are 21,000 primary schools in the UK, so we've got a bit of a job on our hands. So how does it work? Well, first of all, we send a volunteer programmer into their local primary school or public venue, like a library or a community centre, and we give them projects that we've written especially for children of this age group. They teach them to a class of about 15, and that's what makes a code club. So why wasn't this happening already? Because this is a really, really simple idea, right? But we identified some problems. First of all, there were no projects that were appropriate for this particular age group, and there was no group of people to belong to. If you haven't been to a primary school since you were about 9 or 11, then they're very different to how they are now. And if you don't have children at a school, it's quite intimidating to approach a school as an outsider. So we set about trying to solve these problems. First of all, we decided, OK, well, we'll write the projects and we'll distribute them to volunteers so that they can take them and they've got an easy ride. All they have to do is show up and teach them. Secondly, we thought we'll create a network, a brand, a kind of movement that people can belong to. They can show up at a school and say, I'm from Code Club and I want to teach your kids to code. There are hundreds of other clubs around the country doing this, so you don't have to be scared. I'm here to help. So we planned it for about a month because we were very excited. We got on with it very quickly. And we launched with a tweet and a one-page website asking people to help us out. We wanted people to help us write projects, and we wanted them to say that they would help start a club when we got going. Well, the next day we were in Wired and BBC, so it seemed like a very popular idea. And we had 2,000 people sign up to volunteer for us over 2 months. So we thought we'd better get on with it. We gathered a team of people, some who had volunteered and some who we already knew, and we started writing projects so that we could test them. That's nice. So the night before we sent our projects out to our pilot schools, we'd run out of time for testing our logic and the last little bits of detail. And my co-founder, Linda, decided to give me Haribo and whiskey to approximate the mind of a 9-year-old child. Yeah, that was quite a hangover, I can tell you. But we got the projects out on time, and we sent them to 25 schools, and we asked them to report back every week on how they were finding the projects. And we asked the kids to rate our projects from 0 at boring to 10 most fun they've ever had in their lives. And I'm happy to say that they're 92% fun. Yes! So what did we learn? Well, first of all, designing for children is really different to designing for adults, which I had not encountered before. Secondly, there are a lot of tech constraints in UK schools. We have a huge problem with connectivity. If you try and put 20 kids on an internet connection, it just falls over. So we can't use anything that's online, which is a real killer. And lastly, children learn at different speeds and have different capabilities for learning. So we had to try and build that into our projects as well. So we used Scratch in the first 2 terms, and Scratch, if you've not heard of it, was designed especially for children of this age group to teach them the concepts of programming, but without syntax breaking anything for them. They get to see something visual straight away, and they can create games and toys and animations. It's extremely popular. So this is what our projects... Oh, no, wait, I've skipped one. Sorry. That's boring. So in term 3, we start teaching HTML and CSS, and this is one of the projects that the kids made. This is I Love Chinchillas. It says, chinchillas are cute. Have you seen a chinchilla before? If so, you are cool. Thank you. And next is Foodosaurus, along a similar theme that dinosaurs are big and they can eat you in one gulp, and dinosaurs and food are cool. And you should email them if you're interested in that. So what does a co-club look like? Well, this is one at Soho Parish School. These kids have just got their level 1 and level 2 certificates, so they're feeling pretty pleased with themselves. And 3 of these children are actually on our advisory board, because you've got to know your market, right? So who are our volunteers and why do they do it? Well, they're a mixture of teachers from within the school who are proactive and looking for something to help them teach this subject. They are also, 55% of them are external to the school, and they're a mixture of people who are full-time employed or freelance or retired or students. And I asked Jamie, who's one of our volunteers, why do you do it? And he gave me a whole list of reasons. He says it's like being teleported back to when I first learned to code, when it was about fun and curiosity. As kids, we learned to code mostly from free stuff shared by people just for the fun of it, and it kind of creates a virtuous circle where you feel compelled to do the same. And lastly, for the stickers, which I brought with me. So we're giving people a chance to teach what they love and pass on their passion. And our volunteers tell us it's one of the most rewarding times of the week for them, because it really breaks them out of their normal day-to-day programming lives. Back in June last year, a month after we launched, we were really lucky to go to Founders Forum in the UK. I don't know if any of you have heard of it, but we made a video with them there. And I'm going to show that to you now.
Your name?
My name is Niklas Sandström.
So why would you like to work at Code Club?
I have made a few software, done something called Skype. I think I have
Anything else?
Well, I have a few others, but they were not as big. But
My name is Joanna Shields.
What do you think you can do for Code Club?
I was chief executive of a company called Bebo.
Justin Bieber?
No, actually a company called Bebo.
Next. As you know, Code Club is an after-school activity aiming to teach children the basics of coding. What do you think you bring to the table?
Well, I'm Chad Hurley. I created YouTube.
Oh, I know. Did you do that one where the baby bites the other baby's finger?
No, I don't make videos.
Next.
Tessa Jowl. Actually, it's Dame Tessa Jowl.
Next. Tell us a bit about yourself, Brent and Martha.
We started lastminute.com.
Next. Sit down. What's your name?
Tim Berners-Lee.
What do you think you bring to the table?
I invented the World Wide Web.
Anything else?
Anything else?
Next. We were hoping for Prince Harry to be honest with you, Mr. Windsor. So why would you like to work for Code Club?
I think it's a very useful skill, particularly for people like yourselves and young people, and I think it opens up huge opportunities in the future. And I suppose I know some influential people.
Like who?
My mother.
You're hired!
So for those of you who don't know, that last one was the Duke of York, who is the Queen's youngest son. I don't know if you know that. And also, I should say that those kids hated saying Justin Bieber like they were massive fans. I should say that to protect their credibility. They were like, don't make us say it. Anyway, over 600,000 people saw that within the space of about 2 weeks, and it put us really firmly in the public eye, especially in the UK, which is exactly what it was intended to do. And it meant that we could start in September last year with 120 clubs. And we've seen an average growth of 100 new clubs a month since then, so that now we are at just over 1,300 clubs in the UK. Now, Code Club has been really popular, and I've had a lot of emails from people around the world asking, when are you going to come and start Code Club in my country? Or even better, when can I start Code Club in my country? So we created Code Club World, because why not? And Code Club World is a worldwide network of volunteer-led coding clubs for children aged 9 to 11. We launched that in June this year, and we now have another 60 clubs on top of the clubs that we have in the UK. So, in case you haven't gathered already, I love Code Club a lot. It's my life. And I want to give you a chance to try and help me if you think that what I'm doing is a good idea. So first of all, you could start a club, or you could help build a Code Club community where you live. And I don't necessarily mean you, but maybe you know someone that might be interested in that, and in which case, I want to know about them. So first of all, creating a local club. It's very easy. It's exactly the same as I explained it before. A volunteer goes to a venue with all the projects, they teach them to children, and there you've got your club. And we have people translating our projects. They're on GitHub, and we're wanting people to go and translate them as much as possible. When it comes to building a community, obviously, it's a little more complicated, but we have a basic framework in place. First of all, we need to take our projects, translate them into the language, into the country that you live in, and then support your volunteers, and then use social media to keep in contact with them all the time. So first of all, translation. These are the languages that we're in at the moment: Brazilian Portuguese, Dutch, English, German, Norwegian, Spanish, and Ukrainian, and I believe Russian and Finnish are being finished at the moment. Secondly, volunteer recruitment. Oops. I like that transition a lot, so I'll play it again. Volunteer recruitment. We need to talk to local technology businesses that have a lot of programmers working for them, and to universities that teach this to their students, and ask them to come on board and help you. This is working really, really well in the UK. We've just started a partnership program, and in Camden, which is in North London, we've started a partnership between Google, UCL, Camden Council, and Code Club to put a Code Club in every single one of the 43 primary schools that are in that borough. And we're doing the same thing with boroughs all around London and towns across the UK as well. So we know that that model works. Next, we need to start talking to venues, talk to the schools, gather all the school leaders in your area or in your country, and tell them about Code Club so that they know it exists and they can look for volunteers as well as waiting for them to come to you. And hold meetups. The internet's great, but meeting people face to face, there is really nothing like it. We hold loads and loads of meetups in the UK so that volunteers can meet each other. They can meet people who have already volunteered, and they can get talked into it. And volunteers and teachers can meet each other as well. So if you do want to start a community, or you know somebody that does, then let me tell you this: you will not be on your own. I will be there, and I have a team of people waiting to support you and give you all the knowledge and support that we've garnered during creating Code Club UK ourselves. So if you're excited about it, or even just a bit interested, then please come and talk to me, because I'd love to hear your thoughts on it and see where you think it might go. So thank you very much. Okay. Yeah.
We still have some time for some questions, if you're ready. Who has questions? Could also be about the video. I had a few about that. There. Can you pass that?
Hello. I just wanted to ask about the niche. It was kids from 9 to 11, right?
Yes.
What's the easing out of that project? What is expected from the kids after they finish with the Code Club project, or what they're expected to do with that program?
What do they do after they finish Code Club?
Yes, what would be an ideal situation?
Okay. Well, in the UK, we have a bunch of other organizations that do cool stuff for children after that age group. So we have Young Rewired State, which I actually believe is all over the world now, which is a week-long festival of code. And there's Coder Dojo, who run monthly meetups for children aged 11 to 18, which is like mentored coding sessions, which are public and free to attend as well. So with regards like the country that you live in, I'm not quite sure. But we also have a whole ream of further resources and places for people to go, whether it's meetups or online resources for people to use. So we can't teach everyone as much as I'd love to, but there are places that we can tell people to go afterwards.
Hi, Olga from the Czech Republic. Why 9 to 11? Why this age? Is it somehow proven that it's the best age to start to code, or why not earlier or later?
It's proven now, now that we've started. When we first started, we had a hunch that it was a good idea, and now we know it is. So there's a whole bunch of reasons. First of all, we wanted to reach as many children as possible. Our projects require quite a lot of reading and a significant amount of maths. And if you go younger than 9, then they need too much help with the reading and the maths rather than just the code. So you give yourself a massive job, and you would have to drastically reduce the number of children that you could take on at any one time to probably about 5. At 9 to 11, you can have a group of 15 quite comfortably. Any older than that, and in the UK, they go to an entirely different school, like a different physical building. So 9 to 11 is a 2-year age group. It's also great that they get to do this before they go to senior school. The girls in particular develop quite a phobia of anything that might be considered too boyish. And Co-Club in the UK is 40% female, which we think is great, but we can't take all the credit for it. So.
Claire, there's a question that was posted on Slido, but I'm not sure if it's not actually answered by the first question you answered. Is there a shared knowledge base that is available as a kit for new clubs?
Yes. All our projects are on GitHub, and they will need translating if they haven't been already into your language. But there's also a whole website called coclubworld.org where you can find information about starting a club and information about starting a community. And if it's not answered there, then the community is there to help support you. And if you want to start a little organization of your own, then I am here to support you.
Oh, wait over there. I think you don't have to answer the last one.
Okay.
That's not.
I don't know, send them, it'll be fun.
Hi.
The top one. Any screenshots of the interface?
There's a question here, Claire.
Sorry.
Okay.
I would like to know where is the sustainable impact of the life of the children? Because what I see is they are sitting in front of a screen learning how to code, but do they also learn some knowledge about cultures or languages, or is it only about coding, which is from 9 to 11, from my point of view, a little bit, it's in room and...
Yeah. Well, we're not locking them to the computer. This is like 1 hour a week, right? And I think we have kind of a bit, like sometimes in the UK people are like, oh, you're keeping children inside and you're attaching them to computers, and we're really not doing that. We're trying to give them another tool in their tool set to express themselves. Like learning to code, as a lot of you know, isn't about learning to code. It's about thinking about things differently. It's about breaking down problems, improving your logical thinking skills. It's really supportive for subjects like science, technology, engineering, and maths, and we have loads of evidence of that being supportive from teachers in the UK. So it's something that the teachers really love, and they've seen a marked difference in the children that attend Co-Club from when they were there before. Lots of teachers have told us that the kids that attend are less likely to seek help immediately when they have a problem, and more likely to look for a solution on their own before they seek help. And they're more likely to help their peers. And I just think that's all good stuff. So I don't know about they can play football afterwards, right?
I will ask, do you use only Scratch, or have you used another language or another tool?
Yeah, so we use Scratch for the first 2 terms, and the children are making games and toys and animations with that. Then we start teaching HTML and CSS, and they're creating static web pages. And then we start teaching Python, and we're using Turtle and teaching and like learning about fractals and doing ciphers and fun stuff like that.
All right, I love to hear that you use Turtle. It's great. I can remember a long time ago when I used Turtle.
Old school's the best.
I have a question that maybe relates more to Austria, where it's an awful situation that in secondary colleges and in universities, the percentage of female studying something related to coding is very low. So maybe you can give us a bit of an overview. How is the percentage of girls in your class? Is it like 50-50? How do they proceed? Is there anything from the families, like, don't do that, that's only for nerds or anything, or is that really easygoing? Please, some insights.
So the code clubs in the UK, on average, are 40% girls, which we're really pleased with. We only launched in April last year, so we don't have any data as to what the girls go on to do yet, but we're really hoping that we can have as many girls in Code Club as possible, and they'll go on to study computer science in further education. We don't know if that's happening yet. We have quite a strong unisex policy at Code Club. We don't do shooting games, we don't do doll games, we don't do anything that could be considered one or the other, because we don't want to put either gender off. And we ask our volunteers never to say, it's for girls too, because immediately the girls are like, what? I didn't even think it would be weird. But as soon as you mention it, it alerts them that it's something strange. So we don't mention it ever. And it seems to be working. So.
Claire, there were a few people raising their hands for questions, but they're unfortunately out of time. Are you going to be backstage at the bar?
Yes.
All right, great. So Claire is going to be at the Tribe Fire bar available for questions.
Yeah.
And I would say thank you very much.
Thank
Big
you.
applause.